What's up everybody, I'm Byron, this is ETA Wheels, and we're here to talk about battery type. In this video, we're going to go into different types of batteries being used within the PEV space. We're going to talk about why you may want to choose one cell over the other. We're going to talk about some of the limitations of each of the different types of cells. We're also going to go over safety considerations if you decide to build a battery pack at home, for example, storage considerations for each type of cell, how you should store it. Basically, we've got a lot of info. As you guys know who've been following the channel for a while, I don't always take the time to write a script. In this case, I wrote a 15-page script. So if I do look off to the side, it's just because I'm reading the script. All right? We have a lot of information to cover, and I'm going to break this down as simply as I can. This is not going to be an in-depth on each type of battery. This is just going to be a general overview. And the purpose of this is going to be to give you guys at home a better understanding of what it is that you're buying. A lot of people get very confused. You know, they talk about Molicel versus LifePo versus this versus that. And I'm just going to kind of hopefully peel back the veil a little bit and maybe even give you guys some additional points that you hadn't considered so you can continue your research and make the best possible decision for your project. I will also include down in the description below some different resources where you can get some more information regarding this. We're going to talk about fire safety, we're going to talk about storage, we're going to talk about thermal runaway, which is not a fire. Very important that you understand that. So let's get to it. Welcome to our entry-level battery guide to understanding battery technology for personal electric vehicles. In this guide, we will cover important safety considerations, explore the most common battery cell types used in PEVs. By PEV, I'm going to go ahead and define it as electric skateboards. I'm going to define it as scooters, anything that would count, EUCs for example, anything that counts as a personal electric vehicle. I'm not talking about electric cars. If you're looking for electric car information, this may not be the video for you. However, we do have a lot of good information on battery types. Make a decision, an informed decision, at home on what different types of battery cells you want to order, why, and maybe some of the different environmental restrictions that may choose you to go one direction or the other. If you guys are interested in this and you want to see more videos like this, drop me a little comment down below and just go ahead, let me know what you think, let me know where I can improve. Let's get it. We're going to explore the most common battery cell types, discuss their configurations, limitations, and provide battery storage guidelines for optimal performance and longevity. The first part of this, we're going to get into safety, okay? If you're building a battery at home, what do you need to take into consideration? This is stuff that people may have never thought about. I myself have never built a battery pack in a big enough quantity to power an electric skateboard. We're going to be changing that in the future as we go on. But for right now, this is where you need to start, right? These are your basic safety guidelines. Safety is paramount when dealing with battery technology. This has to do with the stored potential of energy. Okay, some of these batteries can discharge very rapidly and they produce a lot of heat, and that heat can lead to a runaway exothermic reaction. Some people may call it a fire, but I just prefer to think of it as a chain of events that you could have stopped. Don't be that guy. When building batteries at home, it is crucial to follow the best practices and safety guidelines. Here's a few tips. Insulate and wire batteries correctly. Prioritize safety over performance, okay? So for you guys that are at home and you're looking at building your first couple battery packs, or maybe you're an experienced builder, right? You probably already know this. But for you guys that are out there that have never been down this rabbit hole, you can get more performance out of a custom built battery pack, but you should also prioritize safety over the ultimate top speed. Different people may have different priorities and different experiences. Manage your expectations so that you can get the best possible results for your project. Research reputable sources for battery building techniques. I'm going to give you some resources down in the description, okay? If you're going off of a how-to guide on YouTube, that's a great idea to give you a good understanding of the concept, but I would recommend that you continue to do your own research. Don't be scared. By all means, dive in and try it. But I'm going to caution you that not all sources of information are the same. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the stuff that I've seen on Reddit, there's some good stuff, there's some shit. At the end, only you have the intelligence to sort what's good and bad. Hopefully some of the stuff you'll pick up in this video will help you. But at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the person building the battery pack to do his own research. This means you. May not be in the military anymore, but I could still take a motherfucker down at 1,000 yards with a knife hand. When building batteries at home, it's crucial to follow the best practices and safety guidelines. Here's a few tips. Insulate and wire the batteries correctly, prioritizing safety over performance. Once again, you're going to hear this repeated throughout the video because I think this is something a lot of people sometimes don't understand. So if you're just kind of casually skipping through the video, hopefully you'll catch it during one of these times I repeat that very same statement. Safety, to me, is the most crucial part of this. Performance is good too, but if it's not reliable and it's unstable, probably don't want to store this fucking thing in your closet at home. You get what I'm saying? Charging safety. This is a big one. I see this pop up in all of the different e-skate groups I'm in, everywhere. I see this discussed everywhere, and I feel that this is something people need to understand, right? I know the safety stuff is boring, but I feel it has to be put out there, especially if this is your first electric skateboard or PEV device that you're purchasing, or if you're gonna really go down a rabbit hole and just build your own. Charging safety. Charging your PEV battery safely is essential to prevent accidents and to maximize your battery life. Follow these general guidelines. And these are general guidelines. There are different battery cell types that have different handling characteristics, and we'll get into those when we talk about the different battery types. Chargers recommended by the manufacturer for your specific battery type. If you have one type of battery, don't just grab another battery charger that's intended for a totally different type of cell and expect it to have good results. Know what you're buying and save yourself some cash by only buying what you need and nothing that you don't. Always avoid overcharging or charging in extreme temperatures. This includes extreme heat and extreme cold, right? Some of you guys are living in some very cold areas. We're also going to get into storage for you guys that are, like up in Canada and other areas where it's, cold and you can only ride a couple months out of the year. Battery management systems. Charging safety. Charging safety is something I feel that is not discussed enough, and it's not taken into consideration enough within the PEV community. I constantly see people posting, hey, how do I do this? How long is too long on the charger? Where should I charge it to store it? Charging your PEV battery safely is essential to prevent accidents and maximize battery life. Follow these guidelines. Always use chargers recommended by the manufacturer for your specific battery type. If you buy an A-Stack board, use A-Stack's charger. If you buy an X-Way board, use an X-Way charger. If you have questions, reach out to the customer service of whatever board it is that you're buying. Or if you're building one, then you're gonna go and research the cell, the type, the voltage, your P group, and you're gonna go ahead and buy a charger that's rated for that. Know what you're doing and know what equipment you need to buy. Only get what you need, and you don't have any waste. Then your wife can't yell at you. Ask me how I know. Avoid overcharging or charging in extreme temperatures. So, don't leave it on the battery charger overnight. If it's only gonna take 3 hours to charge it, try not to go to bed. Try not to overcharge it, actually cause damage to the batteries and to the battery packs, and you can reduce the overall longevity of your battery pack. Be careful about the temperature conditions in which you choose to charge it. Bring it inside. Let the battery and the board come down to whatever the ambient temperature is of the room, and then begin charging it. So for example, when I lived in Abu Dhabi, I would bring my board inside and I would let it sit there for about an hour to an hour and a half. Then I would plug it in to charge it. And if I ended up going to bed before it got to 100%, I would simply disconnect the charger. As soon as I wake up in the morning, reconnect the charger and just go about your day. It's not the most convenient, but it's a very crucial thing until manufacturers develop chargers that are smart and have automatic off. And there are some of those brands on the market. You can go ahead and find them. However, I would like to see manufacturers, especially like A-Stack, you guys are phenomenal. B1, you guys build a fantastic board. I would like to see you guys incorporate some of these and just come up with an overall safer product. Just my little 2 cents here. Regularly inspect your charging equipment for any signs of damage or malfunctions. Okay, this is a universal rule and it's very critical. You may sometimes over a period of time, you may not even realize it. You could have some of the wires that are chafing. You can have all types of different things, right? So my general rule is I look at the charging cable before I plug it in. I look at the power cable to the charger, make sure that there's no issues with it. You know, make sure there's not a big layer of dust building up in the cooling fan that may or may not be inside your charger. And that way you always get the best possible result with the maximum level of safety. Now we're going to talk about battery management systems. And this is something that to me, I see all kinds of different opinions on. Battery management systems are crucial to safety. They are also crucial to properly maintaining a battery pack. You should consider the following. Make sure that the BMS you're installing in your battery pack is compatible with the battery pack and cell type and voltage that you are installing it on. Should go without saying, but you never know. There's somebody out there somewhere that's thinking they're all the same, okay? They're not. The best possible BMS, in my opinion, is one that monitors voltage, temperature, and current. Energy protection mechanisms such as overvoltage and undervoltage protections. So basically, you can't overcharge it, and if you get down to a certain point, there is a minimum threshold of safety for each cell. And if you drop the cell voltage below that level, that you could end up damaging the battery cell, or worse, having a thermal runaway event. And that's just not where you want to be, right? So having a battery management system that's capable of monitoring each group for over and under voltage is a very good thing. It will also help you to have a more balanced battery pack so that you're using the power or the energy potential within that battery pack. And the same applies when you recharge the battery. There are some people that don't monitor the discharge side of a BMS. Look, at the end of the day, take these concepts that you're learning in this video, do your own research and make your own decision, because at the end of the day, it's your safety. That's what this is about. Now we're gonna get into one of my personal favorites, fire! How do you put out a lithium battery fire at home? If it happens, you need to prioritize your personal safety over your house. What do I mean by this? If possible, recharge your PEV as close to an outside door as you can. If you have the opportunity to catch a battery fire as it's beginning, or a thermal runaway event as it's beginning, you can just shuck that thing outside into the grass and you don't have to worry about it. When Class D fires do start going, there's not a whole lot you can do to put them out. You have to use a Class D fire extinguisher. There are a number of different types. However, the most efficient one is a copper-based fire extinguisher. You can find them out there in the world. You can even find them on Amazon. They're expensive, but on the off chance that you need to use it, it's a very good thing. Over the years, I've seen Nomex blankets and Nomex boxes for recharging your electric skateboards. I've seen people use those. I've seen people test them. My personal opinion is that if you can charge, the closer to your front door you can charge this thing, the better off you are. If you have to, you can just kick it outside. I would rather hear that somebody threw their e-skate in their front yard and didn't have a problem with the house other than maybe some minor smoke damage. I would much rather hear something like that versus some of the different ways that it can absolutely catastrophically go sideways. So be safe. Know what you're doing. These things are dangerous, okay? Hopefully you knew that when you bought this. If not, well, you know it now. Battery storage. These are general guidelines. We'll be getting more specific as we get into each segment on each cell type, okay? Proper storage is crucial for maintaining battery performance and longevity. Before long-term storage, discharge the battery packs to approximately 60%. Depending on your battery type, this will be 3.7 to 3.8 volts per cell, okay? Store the batteries in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. If you live in a humid area such as Hawaii, or the Middle East. If you can, hopefully you have access to a dehumidifier. When you're storing your batteries, this is a very good idea. It will just help the overall longevity of the battery. You can also use desiccant bags. There's a number of different strategies to get there. I'm just giving you a couple right off the top of my dome. Avoid storing batteries near flammable materials or in excessively hot or cold environments. If you're in Canada, don't put the thing in an unheated garage. I mean, it should go without saying, but just in case it doesn't, there you go, right? It's just like your puppy. You want to let that thing indoors and have it, comfortable. If you're not comfortable, it's not comfortable. Let your PEVs inside, right? Give them treats. Little scratch into the ear. These safety considerations and guidelines will help ensure the safe and optimal use of your PEV batteries, okay? Remember, always prioritize safety, follow manufacturer guidelines for your specific battery type. Building batteries at home.